have chosen. Leaves in the trees, they are calling, calling. Follow the dipper, the moonlight, the stars. The path of the heart takes you home. Golden moon is rising over the whispering trees. Last ridge over and I'll be done. Follow the dipper, the moonlight, the stars. The path of the heart takes you home. Morning star is still sleeping. Even the hoot owl's asleep. The path of the heart is still calling, calling. Follow the dipper, the moonlight, the stars. The path of the heart takes you home. Paths of the heart lead home. My heart be strong, true to my soul. Wake up, almost home. Sun sinking down, just about gone. Spirit, lead me home. Winds of change leave me broken, blown from the path I have chosen. Leaves in the trees, they are calling, calling. Follow the dipper, the moonlight, the stars. The path of the heart takes you home. Golden takes you home. Golden moon is rising over the whispering trees. Last ridge over and I'll be done. Follow the dipper, the moonlight, the stars. The path of the heart takes you home. Morning star is still sleeping. Even the hoot owl's asleep. The path of the heart is still calling, calling. Follow the dipper, the moonlight, the stars. The path of the heart takes you home. Paths of the heart lead home. My heart beats strong, true to my soul. Wake up, almost home. Sun sinking down, just about gone. Spirit, lead me home. Winds of change leave me broken, blown from the path I have chosen. Leaves in the trees, they are calling, calling. Follow the dipper, the moonlight, the stars. The path of the heart takes you home. Golden moon.
Are we ready? Good morning, everybody. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Well, that's enough. I can tell you're happy. That's what counts. Anyhow, good morning to you. My name is Richard McLeod, and I am your service leader for the day. Our minister is the Reverend Stephen Robinson. Our services are streamed on Zoom and YouTube, but no matter how you decide to join us, and I'm waving at all the people back home there, you're always welcome, no matter how. For more information about UUCC, please visit our website at uucolumbia.org or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We also provide weekly emails that come out on Thursday, so make sure your name is on that list. We welcome families with children, and we do provide childcare during our service for infants and children up to the age of 4, the childcare. To be a volunteer, please see Bethany Storlazzi. Now, today, children and youth is different every week, so today, children and youth will join their CYRE classes following the Story for All Ages. Now, there's a new thing going on for children over 5 and their parents. There's a seating area in the back. So if you have children in that age range, this is over 5. Am I saying that right? Anybody? Yeah, children over 5 with your parents. Do that anytime during the service. And now, please silence all devices as we center ourselves for today's service, and we listen to the prelude.
While you're listening to this morning's prelude, Karen's going to help by handing around some sheets that are going to go along with our opening hymn. If you can share with some of those around you, it's a simple song. Even if you don't have a sheet, you'll be able to pick up on it, but we'll have some go around so you can look at it too, and that will be later in the service, our opening hymn. Our prelude is Call Me by My Name by Amanda Udis Kessler from queersacredmusic.com. It's about affirming and celebrating ourselves and one another in our full truths and respecting and honoring preferred pronouns.
Call me by my name, know me in my truth, trust the sacred flame that burns in me and you. Listen to my song, gentle and I'm strong, with the love I can't contain. Won't you call me by my name? Tell me who you are, let your truth be known. Cast away
To recognize any guests or visitors we have here today. I've asked Bud Ashley to come carry the microphone around, so wait till he gets there. But those of you who are guests or visitors today, where are you? Please stand.
Just introduce myself. Okay, hi everyone, I'm Valerie Thompson. It's good to be here.
Hey, I'm Raymond Wilson. I used to come here when I was a kid, and I just came by just to see what was going on.
Yeah, yeah, it's still going on, yes. Okay, thank you, Bud. Please notice Bud's Janis Joplin t-shirt.
She would be 81 today.
She's 81. Still around. Now let's not start. Okay, anyhow, visitors, if you would like to know more about UUCC, please fill out a visitor's card. You'll find one usually on the back of each chair. And if you place that in your collection plate when that comes around, we'll email you about our upcoming events and try to keep in touch with you. Our child's letter today is Christy Seal. Christy has been a member for a while. She wouldn't tell me how long, and she wouldn't tell me how long, or she wouldn't tell me how old she is. So, but as long as she does a good job of candlelighting, we're fine. Thank you, Christy. Spirit of light and of life, come unto us.
Our opening song is Resilience by Abby Bettinas from the Justice Choir Songbook. And you may have one of these sheets going around. Share with those around you. If you're not looking closely at one, don't worry, because it's a song that's also meant to just be sung by rote, by me sort of showing you the song and having you join in. The songwriter of this piece said that resilience is a mindset born in the hardest days, when you're scared or sad or tired, when progress toward your goal is slow and the barriers seem impenetrable. And yet you keep going because somewhere deep down, you know that what you're fighting for will be so much better. She said of herself personally, as a 3-time cancer survivor, I continue to learn about resilience. I invite you to stand to join in singing. I'm going to sing part 1 through one time for you to hear. Resilience, we are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience, make a new plan. Stand up again and say, yes, we can. That part 1 will keep repeating all the way through. Go ahead and join me in singing it through a few times. If you feel like you can do 2 things at once, I also invite you to keep the beat right here in your feet. 1, 2, 1, 2. Resilience, we are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience, make a new plan. Stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience, we are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience, make a new plan. Stand up again and say, keep going on that part. Resilience, we are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience, make a new plan. Stand up again and say, yes, keep going. If you want to go higher, you can climb up next time. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience. Make a new plan. Stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience. We are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience. Make a new plan. Stand up again and say, keep repeating. Oh, we are strong. Hold on. I want to make it and I know we will. Yes, it's hard to keep going, but it's worse to stand still. Resilience. We are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience. Make a new plan. Stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience.
Invite anyone that wants to come down for the story for all ages to join me down here on the carpet. Can you see this book? Yeah. If I put it right here, can you see it okay, everybody? Yeah? Oh, yeah? Very cool. This is called a book by Michael Hall named Red. It's called A Crayon Story. So we got it here, so I can actually hold the mic, too.
We have podcast.
Yeah. Did everybody see that? All right. So let's get started. Maybe. Hey, look at there. It's working. This is a story about a crayon, and it says he was red. What do you notice about the crayon right off the bat? Can everybody see it?
He's not red.
He's not red. His label says red. Are you sure? Well, let's find out more about him. But he wasn't very good at being red. What did he color? A blue little school bus. A fire truck, sorry. Thank you. I was testing you. And you passed. All right, I'm trying to read it. His teacher thought that he needed more practice. And so he said, I'll draw a red strawberry, and then you draw a red strawberry, and then you can do it. All right, so let's see how he does. So he wasn't, but he couldn't really. She drew the red strawberries. What happened to the strawberries that he drew? They turned blue. He said, like this? Is this how I do it? And she says, well, not really. Let's try again. So his mother thought, well, he needed to mix with some other colors. So why don't you two go and draw a nice round orange? So you know, if you take a red crayon and a yellow crayon and you work together, you can draw a nice orange. Uh-oh, what happened? But they made a huge, big, greenish one. Oops. Oh my goodness. So his grandparents thought, well, maybe he wasn't warm enough. So your class is making self-portraits for parents, right? So wear this warm red scarf. But it wasn't. Thank you. I know. Oh, dear me. Yep. Yep. Let's keep working. So everyone seemed to have something to say. So the amber crayon said, sometimes I wonder if he's really red at all. And Hazelnut said, well, don't be silly. It says red on his label. And Cocoa Bean says he came that way from the factory. Fuchsia said, well, frankly, I don't think he's very bright. Okay, we've decided we're going to have a little talk with Fuchsia, right? Well, Grape said, well, I think he's lazy. Army Green says, well, he's got to press harder. Steel Gray said, really, apply himself. Steel Gray, really? All right. Sunshine said, give him time, he'll catch on. And Sea Green said, well, of course he will. But he did not catch on. Green frog, black sheep, brown cow, red, there's a red ant. Yeah, y'all see how red it is? Oh my goodness. So, all the art supplies wanted to help. The masking tape thought, well, he was broken inside. This will help you. The scissors thought his label was too tight. So one of them snipped it so he could breathe a little bit. I thought he wasn't sharp enough. And so the sharpener sharpened him to see if they could get red. But even with all their help and all of his hard work, what color do you see? Blue, that's right. He just couldn't get the hang of it. So one day he met a new friend, and the new friend said, will you make a blue ocean for my boat? Interesting. I can't, I'm red. Well, the new friend said, will you try? So he did. What do you see? Oh, thank you, it's perfect. You're so welcome. It was easy to paint a blue or draw a blue ocean. And he didn't stop there. He drew bluebirds and blue jeans and blueberries and another bluebird and bluebells and a blue well. I almost said blue school bus. He was, scratch it out, blue, and everybody was talking. Olive says, my son is brilliant. Amber says, who could have known he was so blue? Hazelnut says, I always said he was blue. Cocoa Bean says, it was obvious. Barry says, his blue ocean really lifted me up. Sea Green said, all of his work makes me so happy. Brown said, his blue strawberries are my favorite. Apple Green said, he's so intense. Yellow said, I'm going to make a green lizard with him, a really big one, because yellow and blue make what? Green, that's right. I hear he's working on a huge new project, said Gray. And Scarlet said, he's really reaching for the sky. And he really was painting the blue sky. So what did you learn about the red, blue crayon? All right, they had the wrong label on him. He was blue, right? Yep, he colored red, yeah. Maybe so, that's true. Accept him the way he was. I try to repeat everything that the folks say up here, so I'm also going to say, just so that in case y'all didn't hear that, that's an interpretation of the book as well. So you know what? That's right. One of the things I love about this book is it tells the blue crayon, he finally meets a friend that says, I'm not going to tell you what to be by something that's written on the outside. I'm going to tell you who to be because of who you are. And so I hope at this church and hope at your families and in different places of your life, there will be a lot of people in the world that try to tell you to be something, tell you to believe something or think something. And we really want to encourage you to be yourself. So can you remember that? Say, be myself. All right. You all have a lot of fun activities planned. So follow the group out. Mr. Jonathan and Miss Bethany are back there, and they're going to take you back to the nursery and to the classes. Thanks for coming down.
Learn your lessons well, my children. Seek your truth in the wide unknown. Love each other, work together, and search for wisdom and happiness.
We will take a vote. Who would rather hear than anything I've got to say? What amazing noises to be reverberating in these walls. Our emphasis today in our service really comes from a focus on an event from Friday, which was the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia. And so we really have an emphasis today on inviting us to explore those phobias, where they come from, but even more so, providing that grounding message of learning how to trust who you are and be yourself. I share a poem today as our opening words that's entitled Simple, and it was written by an online poetry writer that simply goes by Julian. A simple haircut got me from hating my hair and stuffing it in beanies to hide it, to having it be one of my most proud features. A simple change of wardrobe got me from hiding in hoodies to rarely wearing hoodies because I want to show off my look. A simple change of name got me from harming myself to fill a void, to finding it much easier to heal because I was trying to heal a person who didn't exist. A simple voice drop got me from wishing I was born mute to finding as many opportunities as possible to do voice recordings so I can hear how deeper and cooler my voice is now. Who knew that these simple things can make a huge impact on someone like me? So the next time you say, it's just a pronoun, or it's just a name, think about how these small, meaningless things to you can impact someone's life and well-being. Think about how a simple yes to a bill can impact the many lives for people like me. From taking away our health care to taking away our rights as human beings, because we are simple yet important human beings. This time we set aside moments in our service for candles of community. We always have candles available, 7 of those in our foyer. If you have a candle this morning that you would like to share a joy or a concern with us, please come forward, share that with us briefly, and then place your candle here. I invite you to do that at this time.
So this is a candle of joy. Last weekend we weren't here because we were at my son's college graduation. So Mara and I got a raise. It doesn't start for another month because his job doesn't kick in, but you get the idea. So it's really a candle of joy. It took him 6 years. It doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you finish, right? He missed the first year because he had a concussion. And then when he got there, he was behind. And we helped, we coached him up and said, listen, man, you're here, you're in the bigs, can you do it? And he did. And he has a job that all lined up that he likes, and Mara and I are very, very happy. So.
we also have a candle of joy. As you may notice, my wife is pregnant. So I will pass it to her for the news.
So tomorrow, it's been a long time coming. I actually do Wednesday, but tomorrow I am getting induced at 5 in the morning. So we're very excited, and it's just such a wonderful joy to bring just new life into this world and into this community. And I also want to say thank you to Nancy, Meg, and Michelle for putting together a wonderful baby shower for me a few weeks ago. I really appreciate it. And we're just so excited and wanted to share it with you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Good morning, I'm Sharon Gibbons, and I hope in 2 months that I will have a candle of joy and not one today of concern. 2 months ago, I stood here and mentioned that I was having surgery on my throat. Turns out I have stage 1 cancer, and in about 2 weeks I will start radiation therapy, and they say that it gets really good results, and especially to preserve the vocal cords. So as you can imagine, it feels like it's been an eternity since I stood here before, and now I've got this next chapter of eternity to live through. But with the love that I feel here and the embrace that I feel here, I know that I will get through it.
I want to light a candle for one of our members, Ann Johnson, who has been dealing with cancer and dealing with treatment from cancer, and had a goal when we talked back in the fall to see her grandson graduate from college. And so she was able to do that a couple of weeks ago. So just a celebration for that. And if you ever want to have a great conversation with someone who embodies resilience, as we sang about a while ago, just give Ann a call. And of course, we also hold a space for joys that are silent, concerns that are silent to be shared. And I invite you to just take a moment and breathe in and breathe out and remember all that you've heard. As we prepare for our offering this morning, just want to point out one correction in our order of service that we didn't catch, that Linda Brennison didn't catch. Sorry. Sorry. She's actually the only one that caught it, and it's the one that told me. But our Share the Plate recipient is Planned Parenthood for this month of April. And that leads me to our next thing. We have actually going to do a joint sermon today, sermon by committee. We asked Allison, as she was going to be the Planned Parenthood representative today, sharing about the great work of Planned Parenthood, to actually give us a few more minutes of some of the issues that they are facing, and particularly in South Carolina, and some of the ways that we can be helpful and supportive as a congregation. So Allison Teresio, please come.
Thank you for having me today. Again, I'm Allison Teresio. My title is Advocacy Campaigns Manager at Planned Parenthood South Atlantic. And when I was growing up, I loved the book this morning, and talking about being yourself. My family said, Allison, you're so smart. You could be anything you want to be. You could be a doctor or a lawyer. They did not mean it to be funny. they had no idea the things that we could be, right? Think about all the jobs that maybe you've had or the people that you know have had. Think of all the things that people have done when we were 20, 30, 40 years ago that we could not have even imagined being present and existing in the world. And I think that's kind of where we are today, because as we talk about trans acceptance and trans visibility, I think that some of the folks that are looking at the world around us and they're seeing the things, the different family types and structures that we have, the way our children are growing up to be accepting and loving of all kinds of people, even the different jobs we're having, that is alarming to some folks. And I think that is where some of this concern, anger, fear, bigotry is coming out, and it's coming out in the way our laws are being made. And so I come to you today with news from the State House, news from our health center here in Columbia and across the state and across our 4-state region. 2 years ago, I came before you in May, and we had just had the leak for the Dobbs decision. We knew it was coming, right? We had no idea the fight ahead of us. We kind of did, but we didn't really. And so on decision day in June of 22, South Carolina's 6-week ban went into effect, which meant that most people seeking an abortion in the state of South Carolina got sent home. And I was standing in the parking lot that day when all of these people got the news that a right that they had for health care in this state was no longer a right that they had. Right? So someone 10 minutes ago had a right, and now I don't have that right. And we saw people in different stages of care, even in the health center that day. Some people were seen and some people were sent home, just by virtue of what time the decision came. Fast forward to last year. Last year, we were in a situation where we were just passing another 6-week ban. The first 6-week ban was deemed inconstitutional by our state Supreme Court, and so it was struck down. Our legislature then passed another 6-week ban, and we challenged that in the Supreme Court as well. This time, the Supreme Court was made up of 5 men, and only 5 men. The previous version of the Supreme Court had 1 woman on it, and she was just by mandatory retirement age, she retired, was replaced by a man, and so that all-male Supreme Court said, hey, this 6-week ban with a couple of words that are different in it, it is now constitutional. And so last August, that ban went into place, and we've been living with it ever since. Compounded to that is that folks who were able to go to North Carolina and to other states are no longer able to go to those places because those places have passed more and more restrictions. This affects not only people who are just finding out that they're pregnant and don't want to be, or maybe they found out that they have a complication in their pregnancy, or maybe they just need miscarriage management. This affects all of those people. And so now, instead of being able to drive an hour and a half to Charlotte, they're now having to go many hours to Virginia, right? And compound to that it's not just the South Carolinians that are having to go to Virginia, it's folks from all over the Southeast that are having to go to these different states. So we're not able to, so just think about that, the childcare, the time off work, the travel expenses, you're now being pushed later in your pregnancy. There are abortion funds that are stepping up to do an amazing job. They are collecting funds from people, not just all over the state, but all over the country. And they are using those funds to give to people. And it's really amazing work. It's not like I have to fill out a form and send in my bank statements and show you that I need the money. It's if you need the money, they're gonna try to help you out. So that's the state of abortion access right here in South Carolina and across our region. We knew And I think that our trans friends and our LGBTQ friends knew last year and the year before that once they're done going after abortion rights, they're coming after trans rights. We'd already seen that. And so this year, the Speaker of our House put it on his top agenda that they would ban care for trans minors. They knew they really couldn't go after the adults first, so what they started to do was go after the care that young people receive. They were creating all of this narrative around here are these kids, and the parents are convincing them of something, or their schools are convincing them of something. More so, we see kind of like in the book that you are who you are, right? And just because you have a label on the outside of you doesn't mean that that's who you are, right? And so caring parents and caring adults look at our children and they go, we see you. We see how you want to be. And so how can we help you? Maybe it's a haircut. Maybe it's a change in your clothes. Maybe it's a change in your name. Maybe it's a change in your pronouns. And some folks, maybe that's kind of enough to be more fully in who you are. And other folks will need to see professional, right, doctors. And these doctors are well trained. They're therapists and they're physicians, and they say, okay, let's talk a little while, and then they may say, all right, well, maybe you're in a phase where we could, like this hormone or this puberty blocker might be helpful for you. And we see over and over and over again that the vast majority of people who go down that route with caring, loving adults and professional physicians and counselors generally are much happier in the way that they're living. Rarely do we see folks who are like, maybe this isn't for me. But even if you do, that's okay, right? You want to stop your hormones, you want to stop this, you want to make a change, you want to, rechange your pronouns or change your name again, that's cool too. But I think what's happening with a lot of our lawmakers is that they're responding to a lot of, we've never seen this before. This is scary, this is different, right? People aren't living the way we think they ought to live. We can tolerate maybe a little bit, but maybe being fully supportive is a bridge too far for us. So they're passing these laws. And we're seeing this affect families here. There's a family that was standing up against the ban. They have a young person. And so a family that has 2 kids, and one of them is a trans child. That kid has been receiving care for several years now. And now that the legislature has passed this ban, I don't know, I can't report out whether or not the governor has signed it into law yet or not. But we believe that is imminent. And so this family is making preparations to have to split up, where the dad will be with one child in one place and the mom will be with another child in another place. And how is this supportive of families, right? How is this supportive of people living here? It's really just, you can draw your own conclusions about what that's doing to families and people here. It's sending a kind of message that says, not you. Not this family, not this kind, not here, go somewhere else. I think what they don't know is that, we keep having blue crayons and red wrappers. That's not gonna stop happening, And so we need to figure out how to help folks get into the right wrapper and get the right label on that wrapper. So that's really what I have to share as far as the law is concerned. I also want to share just a little bit from on the ground at our health centers, because while we do see people still coming in for care, and we do see the abortion funds supporting those people, we also see that there is an effort by people who claim, religious purposes. And those people want to stand outside our health center, and they raise money all over the Midlands And they say things like, we're helping moms. You know, we're giving people resources. And what they're doing is they're really doing this kind of bait and switch thing, right? They're saying, we have so much help to give. We have so much help to give. And then for me, and this is what I always say, help is not what I want to give you. Help is what you need, right? What do you want? Thank you. And how can I help get that for you? Right? How can I listen to you and what you need? And how can I believe you more? That's how I want to show up for you. Because only you know your situation best. Only you know your body best. Only you know what's inside you best. Only you know your family situation and your friend situation and your career situation best. So let's help you do that. We have seen these anti-abortion folks become more vicious, particularly in the past year or so. Yes. We have seen them become incredibly vicious. They surveil the property with cameras and such, essentially all the time. They kind of treat that area as if it is their own personal property, even though it is public right-of-way property. Literally, one of the guys has like a divot or a hole that's about shin deep where he's worn the ground down by standing there. And there is a permanent coffee cup hole in a bush where he puts his cup every day. Like, this is my bush where my coffee cup goes, and it sits there, you know. So they see this as like their domain. And if someone interrupts them, says, no, they think it's their right to get to talk to anybody in a car. They think it's their right to get to hold a car hostage for as long as they want. They think it is their right to call the cops on someone for looking at them funny. One person, they have these bags that they like to put in people's windows. One person said, I don't want this, and they threw it out their car window. Well, guess what? The cops show up, and they say, someone has assaulted. So we have an assault report. And we said, okay, well, what do you have to report? And this person said, they threw a bag at me. Did the bag hit you, sir? No. Was the bag, generally, like, was there any kind of, like, no, it was just thrown in my general direction. So that's an attempt at assault. These are the kinds of things that these folks will do. They will stop at nothing. And they are looking to receive a lot of government dollars because they claim to provide services or help for people, when really all they're doing is baiting people into a fake clinic, providing them with services that are not medically licensed, and taking their information, which is not protected. Please share this information with people that you might know. It's very easy for people to get tricked into some of these places because they claim to provide free health care, and they go, I don't want to, like, birth control is expensive. I don't want to have to pay for that, so maybe I'll go in and see what they have to offer me. It's lies. And I'll tell one more story about that. So they have these signs, these yard signs. So we're in Shandon right now, and you drive down the street, and it's going to be next month we have primary elections, so you probably see a lot of yard signs in people's yards, right? Campaigns buy those yard signs, depending on how big they are and how many you buy at a time, there may be $5, right, with the stake, the plastic sign with the stake that you put in the ground. Someone will maybe see those signs in the right-of-way, right? It doesn't belong to anybody, not in my yard, not on my business property, not on anything. And it seems to be unattended. So, trash, right? No. These guys have cameras set up on those signs. If you touch one of their signs and they can identify you, you will get a cop sent to your house. And if you try to give the sign back, you try to do whatever, they say, no, we're pressing charges. Or, this is why I want to tell this story. Or, if you come to my church service this many times, then we will drop the charges. Can you imagine people sitting here in the Unitarian Universalist Church forcing someone, holding it over someone's head to come to a church service under duress? I am so grateful for this congregation in that I don't stand up anymore that when it's guest time because I don't feel like a guest. I feel very at home here. This is a congregation of love and acceptance and invitation and come as you are and come when you can. I have seen it over and over and over again, and you can tell that folks are happy to be here because I see your faces and I see how you come back, right? Imagine being forced under duress to attend a church service or participate in a religion in some way. That's really what we're dealing with sometimes outside. And finally, I'll wrap up and I'll just say, I always like to speak to stigma. One of the things that harms our healthcare the most is when we feel ashamed to talk about it. When we feel ashamed to talk about, I've received this kind of care. And I think sometimes it starts with just normal bodily functions, right? Like those of us who may menstruate, those of us who've had menopause. Let's talk about menopause at some point, okay? Those of us who are using hormone therapy for whatever reasons we are. Our birth control methods, our births, we should tell our birth stories, right? We should tell all of these stories to normalize what the human body goes through in its cycle of life so that we can accept each other in whatever experiences that we have. And so we used to treat abortion like we don't talk about it. We hope it never happens. I hope a lot of medical things never happen to me. There's a lot of medical things that I hope never happen to me. And yet, I'm so grateful for people who will stand up and talk about their cancer diagnosis, their induction coming up, whatever it is that you want to talk about. Share that because it helps to break down stigma and barriers to other people talking about what their care needs to be. And that's just what it is. It's care, and our motto is care no matter what. And so I'm just so grateful for this congregation to support Planned Parenthood South Atlantic year after year. Thank you so much for having us back year after year. I'm sticking around after the service, so please come say hi and see me and take care of each other. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Allison, for being a friend and a friend to this congregation and for sharing with us this morning. You can give through the Share the Plate in our offering as we take it up. You can also donate online, which will go to Planned Parenthood. At this time, I invite our ushers to come and receive our morning offering.
Our offertory music this morning is Reverie by Angela Morley, a composer who lived in England and the United States from 1924 to 2009. She was a composer, conductor, arranger, orchestrator, and musical performer who specialized in music for film and television. Angela Morley was also a 3-time Emmy Award-winning musical director and the first openly transgender person to be nominated for an Oscar. This is her Reverie.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Anna. Beautiful. Receive our offering today, symbol of our commitment to our good work. When we started talking about planning for a joint sermon, co-sermon, giving Allison a little bit longer time today, the main question from the leadership here was to make sure that I was shortening my sermon, right? Co-sermon means you're going to be shorter, so definitely that's the case. What I didn't expect is I knew Allison and I would be on the same page, but I didn't know verbatim, line for line. So I have written down here to start, let's talk about menopause for a moment. So, what? Not really, so. I just realized there is no appropriate thing I can say next, so I'm just gonna move on. I did have a physician tell me a great story once that was happening up on the floor in the ICU at the hospital. And they had a patient that was just going downhill, heart rate slowing down, and they really couldn't explain why. They didn't know why. They had done all the things. They really thought they had the patient stabilized, and he was just baffled of what was happening. The nurses were baffled. And about the time they were in the midst of working on that, the family minister came in, a good Pentecostal preacher showed up and gathered the family around the bedside and asked the doctor and said to the physician, you know what, we're about to talk to the great physician, so you can join us as well. And they formed this circle around and had a prayer for the patient. And in the midst of the prayer, the physician said he noticed, he looked down and the IV was clogged. That was supposed to be giving the medicine that would stabilize the heartbeat. And so right in the middle of the prayer, he just kind of reached down and unclogged it. And by the time the prayer finished, the heart rate was coming up. And he said, no, exactly word for word, the Pentecostal pastor turned to him and said, it's all right, doctor, you gave it your best shot. Oh, it's interesting. I've been working in healthcare for 20 years apart from my job here. And it's interesting to look at this dynamic between spirituality and religion, especially since that's my practice there, and the art of science and medicine in the healthcare industry. And it's been that way for quite some time. There's a pastor that moved to Detroit after graduating from Union Seminary in the early part of the 20th century named Reinhold Niebuhr. And Niebuhr, going to pastor that church in Detroit, an evangelical congregation, was also a little bit more liberal than his congregation and came to realize that maybe church wasn't a good fit, and eventually ended going back to the seminary, and influenced by his brother Richard, really developed a great theology around evangelical Christianity with more of a thoughtfulness and a mindfulness, and devoted his life to ethics. While he was a pastor, he decided to keep a journal. And at some point, you can tell as he is writing this journal and entry after entry, he eventually realized, I'm probably going to publish this one day, and it starts to get cleaned up toward the end. But those first few entries are just phenomenal approach to his experience of being a pastor and living and functioning in a congregation in Detroit. The book is entitled Leaves from the Notebook of a Tamed Cynic, which is a great title. And I just want to share one of those entries that comes from 1919. Pastor Niebuhr writes, I visited Miss Z at the hospital today. I like to go now since she told me that it helps her for me to have prayer with her. I asked the doctor about her, and he says her case is hopeless. Here, faith seems really to be functioning and lifting the soul above the physical circumstance. I have been so afraid of quackery that I have leaned over backwards trying to avoid the encouragement of false hopes. And here's the line that I love. Sometimes when I compare myself with these efficient doctors and nurses hustling about, I feel like an ancient medicine man dumped into the 20th century. And I think they have about the same feeling toward me that I have about myself. That thought of I'm here practicing something that feels ancient in a modern world of science. Niebuhr's critique of religion in the US at the time is that it had become too dependent upon emotion. And at that time, evangelical tent revival events were swooping across the nation, which were all about emotion. And he felt like a religion completely dependent upon emotion instead of intellect opened yourself up to being manipulated with fear. And it's absolutely true. This past week, we mentioned the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia. It's held on May 17th, which is a significant date for this community because in 1990, homosexuality was finally removed from the World Health Organization list of mental disorders. And so this day on May 17th, in commemorating that event, has been initiated since 2003 and celebrated across the world as the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia. The theme this year is supposed to be No One Left Behind, equality, freedom, and justice for all. A reminder of the obligation that we all have to respect the human rights and the dignity of each person. But as you just heard, women in our culture, trans people in our culture, those from the LGBTQ plus community have all reached points where they are being denied not just a right to health care, it's identified as they are being denied a right to survive. Well over 1,000 state laws have gone into effect since 2018, including rights against women's health care. And all of these laws, as Allison said, are driven by fear. And then that fear is stoked by misunderstanding. And then that misunderstanding is oftentimes fueled by religion. This is the problem when you have a literal reading of an ancient text in a 21st century world. It impacts us in so many ways that we don't even So I just faked a sneeze. What did you hear when I sneezed? What? A scat, all right. I heard a few bless yous out there, right? According to a professor at Fordham University, David Myers says, for European Christians, when the first plague weakened, which was the Christian Roman Empire at the time, around 590, Pope Gregory the Great believed that a sneeze was an early warning sign of the plague. And so he put out a mandate and commanded all Christians in the empire to respond to a sneeze with, God bless you. In ancient times, before that, people believed that sneezing would allow evil spirits to enter your body, and saying, God bless you, when you sneeze, would keep those evil spirits out. And I thought we were a UU congregation. Bless you. It is ingrained in us in ways, sometimes that's overt, that we as a congregation know that we stand against, but it is ingrained in us in unconscious ways. Somehow an understanding of an ancient text and an ancient mindset that just comes out, and we don't even realize it. This literal reading of ancient text and understandings means that we are making modern decisions that are crucially important on an uninformed understanding of the world. As late as the 1600s, people believed that their milk went sour because it had demons in it. And so here we sit today, laws against the homosexual community, the trans community, the overturn of Roe v. Wade, laws against women's health, all driven by literal interpretation of ancient text, many of which are driven by Christianity, but religions all around the world, interpreting ancient text and ancient mindsets into law and practice in the 21st century. You hear us often talk about our faith here being a liberal religion. We have to know how important that is to hold on to that in this place. Because here in this place, our response to truth is not that we know it, but our posture is humility. We know that we don't know everything. We know it. And so our response to when we see these truths that are spoken as if they are truth and they are the fact, our response is suspicion and curiosity. Because we know there are other ways of understanding, and understanding is always evolving, and we are a congregation that trusts science. Spirituality requires thinking and not just an emotional reaction. And Niebuhr moved away from the church to do this and dedicated his life to religious and theological ethics and how they impact human beings. For us here, healthcare is a justice issue. It's a spirituality issue. And we need to let this place be a voice of thinking and ethics and support for everyone.
Our closing hymn is number 325, Love Makes a Bridge. I invite you to stand in body or spirit to join in singing.
Makes a bridge from heart to heart and hand to hand. Love finds a way when laws are blind and freedom bend. Love breaks the walls of language, gender, class, and age. Love gives us wings to slip the bars of every cage. Love lifts the hopes that force and fear have beaten down. Love breaks the chains and gives us strength to stand our ground. Love rings the bells of wanted birth and wedding day. Love guides the hands that promise more than words can say. Love makes a bridge that winds may shake, yet not destroy. Love carries faith through life and death to endless joy.
Remain standing for our closing words, which come from Reinhold Niebuhr. Niebuhr writes, "Nothing worth doing can be achieved in our lifetime, therefore we must be saved by hope. Nothing true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in our immediate context of history, therefore we must be saved by faith."
Please join in singing our congregational benediction.
I'd like to thank you all for being a part of this service, and a huge thanks to Allison Terratio for being here and sharing with us. As Allison said, she will be sticking around afterwards, so if you'd like to have a chance to talk or volunteer, throw that plug in. Thanks to Anna and Karen for the beautiful music today. It was just wonderful, as always. And if you're visiting with us today, we invite you to stick around, give us a chance to get to know you as well as us get to know you. Or if you're coming back and it's the first time since childhood, have an adult experience here at the UUCC. Also, a reminder that the CYRE kids are out there in their event, and I believe they are outside today. So just make sure if you're a parent that has one of those kids out there that you make your way out there as those teachers are wrapping up their sessions. Thank you so much for being here.